Okay, that was a very funky video. So, welcoming on the stage, Vishal Badiani, Head of Creative Strategy for Snap.
Thank you very much. We're 40 minutes late. Thank you all for sticking with me. I will be 12 to 15 minutes max, and I promise this will keep you quite excited, mainly thanks to the very, very beautiful slides that I have. I'm going to talk today a little bit about how exciting it is to be a marketer and an agency or a creative today. Sometimes I hear the word challenge when I talk to people in our industry. I actually think it's the most exciting time ever. And I'm going to talk a little bit why those briefs that we used to get before, those briefs that were make it viral, those briefs that were, I want UGC, tons of UGC, those briefs that were, I want it to be participatory, those briefs that we used to roll our eyes at, those briefs that we thought were impossible, are now actually absolutely doable and easier than ever before. The reason that they're easier than ever before is because of a technology that Snapchat has been investing in for over 10 years. We are the pioneers of augmented reality. And because of that, we've even brought the dinosaurs back to life. Now, this is all fun and well, but we don't invest in technology for the sake of technology. We invest in technology because of how it helps our community. The reason why Snapchat exists today is to enhance relationships between friends, family, and the world. Kind of need to prove that though, right? It's quite hard for you guys to go and pitch augmented reality activations without some data. So we looked at how people are leveraging augmented reality today, and what we found is that nearly 60% of Snapchatters say that AR experiences feel more personal. 73% believe AR allows them to be more creative. And last and probably most importantly, they are 20% more likely to share a snap if it includes augmented reality. Earned media. It's free, guys, so we all want some of that. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of really important facts which start to give you, as brands, marketers, and agencies, a reason to start thinking about AR, right? The first one, as you can see my face going through some of our hit lenses, is that millions of people are already using augmented reality, and I'm not talking about some global stat. I'm talking about here in the kingdom. We looked at our own internal data, and we found that throughout the course of 2022, 6 million Snapchatters played with augmented reality experiences every day, multiple times a day, here in the kingdom. 6 million every single day in 2022. We see that number tracking the same way that mobile usage tracked back in the day. This is not some fad. This is not just rainbow vomit. The crying lens that you saw me so beautifully modeling earlier in the film, that generated 1.3 billion plays in the first 6 days of its launch. It had zero advertising. There was not a single ad that we ran to get people to play with that experience. So if you do not feel that this is an opportunity, then you're probably not suited for a job in marketing. Now, there are 3 myths I want to quickly dispel about augmented reality before I move on. Firstly, sure, it's fun, but it's also massively efficient, massively scalable, and massively measurable. Let me just go through those quickly. What I mean by measurable is you are able to run brand lift studies, you are able to get all of the digital KPIs that you would off a video campaign online through lenses on Snapchat, number 1. Number 2, it's efficient. By efficient, I mean you can target audiences and demographics, you can target by attitude, and you can retarget based on engagement. You can also add click-throughs to different places, whether that be a longer form video, whether that be a website, whether that be an app install. And finally, it's scalable. Well, That's the point about the millions that I've already made. So yes, this is a way in which you can reach millions and millions of people. Now, the second fact I want to land is that consumers already place a huge value on AR. And this is where it starts to get interesting. And this is why I get put up on stages to talk to very clever, savvy marketeers like you guys. There's a gap in reality. We ran a study recently with Ipsos, and we talked to marketeers across all of our key markets, including Saudi Arabia. 94% of brands, and by brands I mean people that work at brands, we didn't ask Procter & Gamble or STC, we asked the marketeers. 94% of brands think AR is primarily for fun. It's for the silly face filters that you saw me playing around with earlier. But actually, only 53% of consumers think that way. So there's a 40% gap there, nearly, between the perception that brands have and the perception that consumers have. This is the gap that we've been investing in for the last 10 years, and we're now able to take advantage of. We did a little bit deeper research to understand how exactly do consumers want to understand the value. Where do they see the value of augmented reality? They see it in traveling and exploring the world. They see it in entertainment and concerts. They see it in scanning product information, understanding instructions, maps for navigation. I'm getting close to the edge here, I'll be careful. Learning in a new immersive way and events. And look at the gaps. Your orange bars here are what consumers believe the value of AR is, and your grey gaps are what brands think. And finally, I just want to talk quickly about probably the most obvious use case for augmented reality. It's shopping. What we have found, and this is all sourced data, AR facilitates a more seamless shopping experience. So 79% of consumers think that AR makes the shopping experience easier, and 70% identify shopping as the main reason for using AR today. Now, that's all good and well, but let's take a step back from shopping and think more broadly, especially for the kingdom, what are the opportunities around AR and how broad can it be? First and foremost, it is something which can engage people around the world. Here you've got an example that we developed for Lego. Yes, it's a very beautiful video. Yes, we used it at our big conference in LA. But this is technology that is available today, and it allows people to play together across the world, to build a piece of Lego around the world together in real time through augmented reality. On Snapchat, available now, not some vision of the future. It also allows people to celebrate together. So here you can see a lens that we actually developed and ran. It ran across the world, and it allowed millions of people to enjoy a concert by David Guetta in 2020. God, I'm showing you old stuff. I'm sorry about that. And finally, I want to showcase this experience. I'm going to pause here a second. Now, what you can see here is someone scanning an avocado. I was going to say scanning guacamole for a second. That wouldn't have worked. Scanning an avocado. And what the back end of Snapchat is doing is it's explaining what kind of things you can do with an avocado, what kind of guacamole recipes are available. We can also do this with an egg. This is live now. You can open your camera at home. You can touch the scan button at the bottom of your Snap camera. I'm sure you all use Snap avidly. And you will be able to scan an avocado and see information about how you could use it. Now, this is interesting versus the Lego example and the David Guetta example because it starts to talk about mixed reality. It starts to show how objects in the real world can start being used to trigger information. Now, all of us today are very, very impatient and hungry for information all the time. And how do we access that information today? We look down, disconnect, we start typing on a keypad on our phones. And Google's amazing. I love it. We all do. We all use it all the time. But the reality is that that is a learned human behavior. That is not natural human instinct. With technology like this, we believe we will change the way people access information. They will simply be able to point and scan and learn, whether they are in a street, whether they are in their kitchen, whether they are in a store. And this kind of leads me into a clear understanding of what AR isn't, right? AR isn't virtual reality. AR is about overlaying information in the world around us to help us navigate the world, to have more fun in the moment, to be able to connect with the experiences that are around us. It's not about disconnecting us from the world. There is definitely a role for VR. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's not the same thing as augmented reality. And it's far less scalable. It's a much deeper experience you can get from VR. You can really take people on a journey, right? But AR is far more scalable. And I think the use cases will start to become far more clear as the technology evolves even further. And the second thing I want to say is that AR is not the metaverse. Now, the metaverse is a term that has now been adopted and used very broadly. But the only thing I really want to say here is that the metaverse isn't yet defined. Like, there is 100% a role in the world for a decentralized platform that allows purchasing through decentralized currency. I absolutely see that future happening. I just don't think it's there yet. And Decentraland or Sandbox or Roblox is not the metaverse. And I know I've already said this, but this is something that our co-founder said, I think 5 or 6 years ago now. Bobby said, we believe very strongly in the idea that computing overlaid onto the world, augmented reality, and the camera in particular, will be the next major shift in technology. We went from PC to web, we went from web to mobile. We absolutely believe the next big shift is going to be AR. And I'm going to start telling you a little bit more about how this is super relevant and how we know how effective this is for brands today. But before I get there, the other big thing we did to ensure that this becomes the next big thing is make every single lens that we build available to be built on a platform that's free and downloadable today. So if you want to develop AR experiences, anything that you've seen in this deck, anything you see in this deck later on, it's free. There's no cost. It's just skill and time and practice, which brings us back to what the team was saying just on before me, the team from Lens Studio is free software. We currently have over 300,000 developers on there. There have been 3 million lenses developed with over 5 trillion views. And the same way that we saw young, ambitious, technically and creatively minded Saudis driving the revolution with video editing, we are seeing the same usage of Lens Studio in Saudi. We see more usage of Lens Studio in Saudi than all of Europe combined. This is going to be the way that the next generation express themselves. Now, onto the piece where, I've grabbed your attention a little bit. Now I kind of need to give you some substance behind my story. So what is the impact of AR on brands? And, for a long time, I've been at Snapchat now for 4.5 years. I come from a strategy and planning background. What is the effectiveness has been one of the challenging questions we've always faced. What am I going to get out of it? Cool, I get to show it around and it's something which is interesting. I may even be able to show it to my daughter and she may think that my job's cool for a little while. But really, what is the impact from an ROI point of view, from a ROAS point of view? And what I'm here to show you is that we now have clear data that proves that AR is delivering across the entire funnel. We know that it delivers incremental reach. We have looked at our own internal data. And if you, as most brands and marketeers and agencies in the kingdom are running video campaigns on Snapchat, you will simply get 31% incremental reach by having a lens. Like, without doing anything else, you will receive 31% incremental reach. So if your objectives are upper funnel, it's a no-brainer. When we then looked out into our brand lift study results, we also saw that it improves brand awareness significantly. 76% 76% of all the brands that used AR lenses in campaigns on Snap improved brand awareness. So it kind of is a way to guarantee success in those upper funnel metrics. We then move one step down into engagement, familiarity, consideration, whichever word you use in your business for middle of the funnel preference. This is a case study that we developed in partnership with Puma. It includes shoe try-on technology. Puma obviously is one of the less big brands, so they wanted to find a way to outmaneuver their competitors. What they did is invest heavily in augmented reality. This is a shopping experience which allows you to try on trainers or sneakers or kicks, whatever your terminology might be, and tap through immediately to buy them. They saw that the average time spent was 3 times higher with their lens experience than they were receiving from their videos. We took this a step further with Dior. Now, these are not a cheap pair of trainers, but nonetheless, they deployed our full ad stack. They also employed all the technology behind our ad stack to measure impact. They looked at full conversion metrics, and they delivered a 6.2 times ROAS on their Snapchat campaign for these trainers specifically, to the extent that they had to stop the campaign a little bit early because they were running low on stock. And here's one specifically from the region that we've worked on too. So not necessarily as sexy as a pair of Dior Jordans, but a Dolce Gusto coffee machine. We developed a lens here which basically allowed you to place this machine anywhere in your world. 3 machines in one lens. All the information about the machine turned up next to it. And we saw really incredible results. So it doesn't necessarily have to be trainers. It doesn't necessarily have to be makeup. Products that you can totally see fitting on Snapchat. It can literally be anything. It's just about how you address the creative solution. Here they saw a 6% uplift in action intent and a 62% higher sell-through than they had forecast. And what we're starting to see now through the conversion, now that we're past conversion, is we're seeing brands actually out-advocating the use of AR. They're proud of the work that they're doing, and they want to showcase the results that they're getting. 76% of brands that have developed AR have improved their brand awareness. 84% of brands who use AR says it helps to drive sales, acquire new customers, and drive performance metrics. And finally, we did a huge meta-analysis of all of the campaigns that we have run. And we had a look at what brand lift metrics we saw the biggest lifts on. When we compared campaigns with lenses versus campaigns without lenses, what we saw is that with lenses, you saw a 3 times higher lift on brand awareness, a 13% higher lift on brand favorability, a 1.4 times higher lift on ad awareness, and a 10 times lift on action intent. So if you're looking at favorability, if you're looking at intent, these are super interesting additions to your campaign, making them far more dimensional, far more sticky, far more memorable. So what have we learned? 4 quick things. There's a huge audience out there, whether they are calling it AR or not, they know exactly how to use it, right? AR can enhance your online shopping and reduce the cost of fulfillment. Today, we estimate that roughly 7% of products that are bought in store are returned, whereas 30 to 50% of products bought online are returned. AR can massively help reduce that. AR on Snap at least is advanced. It can make sure that your brand and your products look like they should, and it's accessible through Lens Studio, free software. And finally, I spent far too long telling you how well it works, so that should have at least sunk in. And what next? Don't build AR for the sake of it. You know, this isn't a technology that we should all just be deploying for the sake of saying we've ticked the innovation box. But where you can clearly see a value for the audience, whether it be in travel, whether it be in beauty, whether it be in luxury, like grab the opportunity, see it as a time to trial, right? Ultimately, AR, sooner rather than later, is going to become a part of every creative toolkit. So it's going to start being important for you to understand how to build it, how long it takes, what kind of experiences your audiences expect, and how quickly you can roll it out and drive media behind it. And finally, set clear objectives and KPIs. Let's measure, test, and learn together. We can develop as detailed and structured a media strategy for AR lenses as we can for video. And that is everything. So thank you for bearing with me.